Hey, what's up? It's me, Seth with SethPerler.com. I'm an executive function coach based out of Boulder, Colorado. And today I'm going to be talking about if you are a parent who is looking for a new school for your child. And this is a bit of a different video than what I usually do. But what happened was that I was talking to my brother the other day. He lives in Florida, and they are talking about switching schools for one of their kids this coming fall. And so we were talking about it. And what I did here is I have 7 ideas that when I'm speaking with families and families are asking me about new schools that they want to send their child to, there are 7 big concepts that I thought about that I'm always saying the same thing over and over and over. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to tell you what those 7 things are so that hopefully if you're in the same type of a situation, you can contemplate these things and make the best decision for your child that's possible. So I've been doing this for a long time. I have had tons and tons of parents ask me about my recommendations for schools, for tutors, for colleges, all types of things. So I've had this conversation a lot. And as far as these 7 things that I always find myself saying, here is number 1. The first and most important thing that I think if you're thinking about getting a new school for your child is to really back up and really look at the big picture and really say to yourself, why are we trying to educate our child? We tend to get lost and we tend to forget that this is the point. And I speak about this a lot in a lot of my work, but what's the purpose? What are we trying to do here? What do you want your child to get out of the education? Having said that, it really doesn't matter if your child went to the school of hard knocks, if they went to public school, private school, Montessori school, if they're homeschooled, if they're unschooled. What ends up mattering in the end is if their education met its purpose. Now, the way that I describe the purpose is to help a student help a child launch a great future. If they grow up and they don't have a great future, something's wrong. Something has gone wrong in the process, oftentimes. Obviously, people have their own responsibilities for stuff. But did we educate them to give them the tools that they need to create a great future in the world that we live in or in the world that they will be living in the future? So are we giving them what they need? That's the number 1 thing I want you to be asking is does this school seem to be providing that? So that's the number 1 thing. And related to that, I want to ask, what do you want your child's future to be like? Do you want them to feel free? Do you want them to be financially stable? Do you want them to have great relationships? Do you want them to have a career they love? Do you want them to be a money-making machine, regardless of how interested in their career they are? Do you want, what are your values? I think most adults can agree that they want their child to be happy and successful. How we define that can be different, but what do you want your child's future to look like? So that's the purpose of education, is to help them create that, is to give them the tools so that they can create that type of future. Number 2 out of 7, they all look good on paper. If you are going to go to the school's website, they all look good on paper or on the internet. If you're going to go to the school's website and you're going to read the school's mission statement and you're going to learn about the school and you're going to see all the great things about the school, they all look good on the internet. So I've seen so many families that have gone to a new school and it was supposed to be the school that did X, Y, and Z, but the actual experience once they get in there didn't meet what it promised. So don't believe everything you see. Be skeptical. If it says this is a great school, look at what the metrics they're using. What do they consider a great school? Is that what you consider a great school? There are sites out there where you can look up schools and you can see grades, a rating for a school. You can see an A school, a B school, an F school. You can see all of these different ratings. But you have to really, really think about what are the metrics that they are basing these on. You could be in the best school in your area, but it could be the least creative place in your area. It could be the least diverse school in your area. It could be the school that encourages thinking for oneself the least. It could be a school that has the most conformity. It could be the most rigorous school. And if you want your child to have a rigorous life and that's a value to you, then really think about, what does that mean, rigor? It could be the school, the best school could be the school with the most perfectionism and pressure on kids, the least freedom, the least choice for them to do what's important to them. So really think about, what does it mean if they have that high score? Now, on the other hand, the worst school that you can find on there's a lot of interesting YouTube videos that have been coming up where lately it's kind of a new fad where people are looking at the worst thing on Yelp, the worst restaurant, the worst hotel, the worst tattoo artist, the worst whatever. And they're going to see how bad it is. And what they find oftentimes is you cannot believe everything you see on the internet. Things can be skewed. So the worst school could actually mean the most loving staff you've ever seen, because you might be in a community that really has people who are dedicated to making the community better. They're really care about the kids. They're from the community. They're really committed. So the worst school, maybe it has the worst scores or the worst rating, but that doesn't mean that it's the worst place for your kids. So number 2 was beware. Everything looks good on paper. Now, I do want to say about these metrics. We have these metrics often I'm still on number 2. We have these metrics often that are based on on test scores or whatever the metrics are that they use. I want to tell you what I think are the most important metrics. This is a very important part of this video right here. What I think are the most important metrics you want to look at. 1, how engaged is your child? So like I said, I'm really making this video for my brother, but how engaged is your child at the school or with a teacher? Engagement. How into it is your child? 2, how much is secure attachment being built with your child at the school? Does your child feel secure attachment with the teacher, secure with the school, secure with the staff? Do they feel safe and secure? Number 3, their future success, happiness, and health. We all want our kids to be happy, healthy, and successful. So we don't look at this metric, but what if we could look at a school and see 10 years out, 20 years out, 30 years out for how the child is doing in life? Are they happy? Are they healthy? Are they successful? How do we define that? So if we were looking at those metrics, how engaged are they, how secure are they, and how well did kids do who left that school in their future, those would be important things to look at. Of course, those things are hard to look at, meaning they're not easy to quantify, and we like to grade a school based on things that are easy to quantify. We like to grade a child based on things that are easy to quantify. That's why we give a letter, A, B, C, D, or F, to say how a child's doing, and that tells you nothing. It really doesn't tell you much, yet we still do it after over 150 years of doing this. Anyhow, moving right along. Number 3, what I find myself saying all the time to families who are looking for new schools, particularly if it's an elementary school, but also for middle and high schools, is go to the school after school, go hang out, and you can sit in the main office area, you can sit outside at a picnic table, whatever. And what I want you to do is look at the parents and the kids after school. If the kids are coming out of school, the bell rings and the kids are coming out and they're happy, and they look happy with their teachers, and they look happy with the staff, that says a lot. If the staff is coming out and they look happy, that says a lot. If the parents who are picking them up look happy and they're connecting with the teachers or the staff, that says a lot. If parents are coming up and they're frustrated and the line's always frustrating and the teachers look rigid and the kids look like they're all in order and they look stuck and it just seems, that's not the type of environment that I want kids to be in. I want them to be happy. So look after school and feel what it feels like after there. Does it feel like a safe place, a happy place, a place you really want your kid to be experiencing for the next 180 days in a school year? Or does it feel daunting and exhausting? Do the teachers look tired and unhappy? Like, really look at that stuff. Number 4, what I always seem to say to people is that a lot of times I think we look at structure in the wrong way. So you might have a school that's a very structured school, and you might have a kid who's a very structured school, and that structure may be great for that kid, but it also may not be great. Sometimes kids who are highly structured themselves need to be pushed to take more healthy risks and to not be as perfectionistic and to not just conform to structures. And sometimes it's great for them. Sometimes kids who have no structure need a lot of structure or a medium amount of structure. Sometimes kids who have no structure, who go into a school that's very free and creative and non-structured, sometimes they don't have enough self-discipline or self-structure to create that. And then what happens is that when they get to middle school, particularly I see this a lot in 7th and 8th grade, where I see kids who went to a really unstructured elementary school and they're in 7th or 8th grade, they have no math skills, they don't know how to write, they don't have foundations. Because they weren't able to create that on their own. So anyhow, that's something that I seem to say a lot is there's a lot of gray in the structures. So really think about that realistically for your child. Number 5 that I often say is trust your gut. With my brother, he can think about all the details and list out all these ideas about the school, but he also can just tune in with his gut and say, yeah, where my kid's at right now doesn't feel quite right. So if it doesn't feel right, parents, it's probably not. Now, a lot of times you might get different messaging from the school, like, hey, trust us, we know what we're doing, leave us alone, let us do our job, blah, blah. That's not always good advice. If you think something's wrong in your gut and it's just not aligned, trust it. Next, are the school values and is the school culture really aligned with your values and your family culture and what you believe in? So really ask yourself, and this is another one where you could probably tune into your gut right away and say, yep, it's aligned, or nope, it's not aligned. Again, it's complicated if you're changing schools, and again, everything looks good on paper, and you think, oh my gosh, this school seems like the greatest school. I had 4 parents who told me that this was the best school in the world. Their kids loved it. Doesn't mean it's right for your kid, or your family. So really look and see if the values are aligned with yours. Now, if you can't tell what the values are, the mission of the school may not be very clear to the staff even. That quite often can happen. They can get off course and misguided from their original purpose and missions, particularly as a school gets older and the staff is turned over a few times. The whole culture can change from what the intention originally was. So anyhow, alignment. And finally, number 7. This is what I consider to be the absolute number 1 most important thing that I think my brother should look for when he's looking for a new school or when he's contemplating changing the school. Relationships with the teachers are everything. It's everything. Again, you could be in the worst rated school in the country, but if your child has a great relationship with a great teacher who cares about your kid, who loves your kid, who's looking out for your kid, who knows how to challenge your child, who engages your child, who inspires your child, that's where you want your kid. The relationship with the teachers in the school is everything. Now, this gets more complicated as we get into middle and high school, and they have several teachers. And I often, in my practice, will have a kid who has 1 or 2 teachers who they really feel like the teacher hates them, or the teacher has it out for them, or the teacher is not fair to them, or the teacher is condescending towards them. And there often are some teachers who are very structured, highly linear, very left-brain teachers who can give off this air of condescension and who can make these kids not feel emotionally safe. So 3 things about the relationship with the teachers. 1, Is your child experiencing secure, healthy attachment? Even though we often think of attachment and attachment styles as something within family systems, it goes with all sorts of relationships. Are they experiencing secure, attached relationships with their teachers? This is so important, because if your child feels safe with their teachers, if they feel emotionally safe with you, and they've got adults in their life that they feel safe with, you can really push your kids so that they can get through the resistance and learn what they need to, so that they can go back to point number one, which was the big picture, so that they can have a great future. Okay, so are they experiencing secure attachment with the teachers and the staff? 2, engagement. Is the school engaging your child? Often, again, we're looking at test scores, we're looking at grades, we're looking at these metrics that are very easy to quantify. Well, you don't have to quantify engagement. You can simply think about your child and say, does my child seem pretty engaged in school? Are the teachers engaging? Is the way this school approaches education engaging for my child? Are they engaging my child by engaging my child's strengths and building upon them? Or are they focusing too much on the weaknesses and trying to correct everything, and my child feels like they're broken and like they're not enough? Are they creating educational experiences that are based on my child's interests, their passions? Does what they're learning matter to them? Is it purposeful to my child? Are there meaningful experiences that my child is having in this educational system that they're in? So engagement. Is my child engaged? And number 3, and this is obviously very related to if they are experiencing secure attachment with the people at their school and they're feeling engaged, then they're going to, number 3, want to go to school. So number 3 is, do they want to go to school? Or you can be more gray about it. I'm very much about playing in the gray areas. How much do they want to go to school? So to recap, I find myself saying all the time, what's the purpose of education? What do you want your kid to be in school for? Number 2, they all look good on paper. Number 3, look at the kids and the parents after school and the teachers after school. What's that vibe like? Number 4, how much structure does your child need? Number 5, trust your gut. Number 6, are the values and is the culture of the school aligned with your values and your family's values? And number 7, the relationship with the teacher and the school is everything. Is your child experiencing secure attachment? Are they engaged, and do they want to go to school? Obviously, these things are very hard to look at, especially when I said everything looks good on paper and you think your child's all excited. Oh, I want to go to this school, and they think it's going to be so great. Maybe a couple of their friends go there or whatever. Obviously, they don't always want to switch schools. A lot of times they don't want to switch school. Either way, we can have what's called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias means that you, the parent, or your child can have a story in their head. Your child can say, I don't want to go to that school. I don't want to leave this school. Or you can say, well, we want them to go to this school. Or you and your spouse can disagree. We can have confirmation bias. Confirmation bias says that we are looking at an issue, and we are looking for all of the evidence that is going to confirm what we already believe. Do not let confirmation bias dictate the choice as to what school your child is going to go to. So if you start thinking, oh, this place looks great, it seems great, and you're looking for all the evidence of what supports you to think it's going to be the right place, challenge yourself, really think this through, because I've seen so many families switch schools and go to a place that's supposed to be the right one, and it turns out, again, not to be the right one. The worst thing I ever hear parents say, ever, is not the worst thing ever, but one of the worst things is, we're just waiting for this year to be over. That is one of the most heartbreaking, sad things I ever hear. When a parent says, we're just waiting for this year to be over, what that tells me is that we are subjecting this child to weeks or months more of suffering, of being uncomfortable, of not feeling secure, of not being engaged, of being in an educational place that they are supposed to be in, being told what to do, how to do it, when to do it, being told what to learn, not being taught how to learn, not feeling good about it, not looking forward to it. It's really heartbreaking that we go through that. So we want to be very careful about, if we're going to switch schools, where we're going to put them. And the teacher that they have the next year if that teacher already has a great relationship with your kid, but they're at the same school, and the upcoming teacher may be a great teacher, and you're going to switch schools when you could have had a great teacher, it's just a very complicated issue. So anyhow, that's about all I got to say. Again, my name is Seth Perler. I'm an executive function coach based out of Boulder, Colorado. I help struggling students figure out how to navigate this thing called school. If you like what I'm doing, please share my work. Please subscribe somewhere down here on YouTube and or on my blog. I give a free mini course on my blog if you subscribe there. And in YouTube, comment with any thoughts that you have about this issue. If you are looking for a new school, what do you look for? Help the audience here understand what questions should they be asking if they are looking for a new school. What wisdom do you have, or what questions do you have? Go shine your light. Have a great day. Take care.